Hi, I'm Peter Avery, Director of Theater for the Arts Office at the New York City Department of Education. Thank you for all you do. Your leadership in the schools is crucial to the academic and social emotional well-being of our amazing New York City public school students. This year, every school leader and teacher had to learn how to reach kids on the fly. There were no maps for remote learning. There were no roads. As we transition back to full-time in-person, theater educators are the perfect faculty to ground our students, to engage students in appropriate social-emotional activities, working with others, and processing their thoughtful reflections grounded in dramatic expression. Teachers facilitate students' learning about theatrical characters in part by learning about themselves, their habits of mind, their habits of action. Theater enables students to get out of their heads, to make active choices on stage and off, to experiment with personal voice, and how their actions impact others as performers, designers, and writers. There are few right and wrong answers in theater. The emphasis is on those active, informed choices, on developing, on making clear choices and even better, intentional ones, learning from trial and error through rehearsal. Who needs a road when you're learning to soar? Theater enables every student to feel valued because their voice matters, both individually and in collaboration, working together on the stage, in the classroom, and beyond. In this video, I will share some thoughts as to the power of theater for youth and schools, some examples of student creative work that happened during COVID, as well as other times, and resources for teachers, school leaders, and school communities. When students of all ages engage in theater, they share stories, they are heard. When they hear stories, they are moved and relate. They empathize. When they perform, act, write, design stories, they make connections, they make meaning as individuals, and together they express themselves. They experiment with reading and discussing ideas, researching the context or worlds of the play, the trial and error with using their voices and their bodies to communicate character. They collaborate with others, often across diverse backgrounds, abilities, and points of view, to rehearse, and in that process, create. They have ownership of their learning, which then translates to skills they develop and knowledge they share through plays they write, performances, designs, publicity posters, and the 360 of producing theater. Our ongoing theater teaching and learning deeply aligns with and even reveals the DOE instructional framework. Today, I want to share a glimpse at some of the dynamic and high-level theater education happening daily in our schools. Here are just a few of our free teacher instructional supports and student creative initiatives reaching all grade levels, from our American Voices co-curricular units to our Broadway Junior musical theater supports for middle schools, to a new virtual theater education and professional learning library resource for all teachers across the city. Theater is life. It is a window and a mirror for us to experience and empathize with others' stories, their challenges and their joys, but also to see ourselves on stage, to reflect on our own values, stories, limitations, and dreams, and why it is so important to have it in our schools, in person, remote, or in a blended model. The desire to learn and share stories of who we are and where we came from, relationships, how things work, are conveyed in theater learning. Here's some examples of what happened in our schools during COVID.
We celebrate the next generation of motivated student artists who collaborate to produce theater, even under difficult circumstances, and in the process, make the world a more inclusive place. You can't stop the beat.
Spectacular, where I'm gonna crown your Miss Teenage Hairspray 1962.
But the world keeps spinning around One of the most pleasant surprises during remote learning was how my students, who tend to be on the shyer side, really rose to the occasion and produced some really good quality theater. So what that did was help me to become more reflective in my pedagogy, because now I want to ensure that all that they gained during remote learning translates well into the in-person classroom setting.
Hello, I am Thiago. Sit down and form and talk. What are you looking at? You? What are you doing with those tomatoes? These are not tomatoes. These are my headphones.
Please don't tell me that you're reading a plate now.
It's not a plate. It's my new book. Or you could look at some museum art. Wow! Oof, at least you stopped crying. So you're helping the lovely and long, are you, my fine gentleman? Well, this is your last warning. I've been getting many emails from my students, and I reply, but they act as if they didn't even see my reply. It's crazy.
This is my prop, my sword, my pirate sword. And today, you will get to make your very own pirate sword from home. Out of aluminum foil.
Theater challenge assignment is to create a costume design for the musical Hercules. That's what professional costume designers do when they're making a costume design, is they'll include little cutouts of all of the different pieces of the design, all the different colors, all the different fabrics.
When we started online learning, I was nervous that my students would lose their place to be expressive and a sense of connectivity. But I was wrong. They leaned into each other, they supported each other. Even my alumni showed up to mentor my younger students. They were driven by a need to communicate. And that's the beauty of theater artists.
Hello, my name is Sade Akinyoye, and today I will be reciting and acting out the monologue of Laura from the play The Glass Menageries. Mom, I can't do anything. No, Mom, please, I have to say this. I can't go outside these walls. There's just so much pain.
Theater brings the students in. During remote instruction, I was surprised by our consistent attendance and participation. It just made my heart smile.
I found that my students were incredibly creative in the virtual arena. They used all sorts of digital platforms, that they have so many messages to communicate, and they can find ways to do it no matter the challenges that they face.
This is a disgusting. We can't bring you to the floor. It's your fault. It just can't happen. We can't move on.
Senator, you're not listening to me.
We can't do this. It's that simple. I don't understand why we're still discussing. We're discussing this because it's the only option. Just look at what's happening. Listen, Stanton. Quiet, all of you. We're not getting anywhere here. Senator Little, time check. 8 minutes, Senator.
Be prepared for sensational news. A shining new era is tiptoeing nearer.
And where do we feature?
Just listen to teacher.
Today, we're going to learn about playbills. See? These are the actors, and that's their headshot.
Can you compare and contrast some of the similarities and differences between Elizabethan theater and Greek theater?
Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence. Speak, I charge you. Which is vanish.
Whether they are vanished?
Into the air. Your children shall be kings.
After we made the switch to remote, I really lost heart. I wasn't sure that the work mattered anymore. I opened that up to my cast, and the next day I got an email from them, letting me know that their preparation, their hard work, and their voices were important, that they deserved to be heard, and that they expected to see me in the next Zoom rehearsal. I'm more proud of that production than anything I've done.
Think of an elephant up in a tree.
Think of a person to
just a glimpse of the incredible theater education happening remotely in classes over the past 7 to 8 months. From bathrooms to apartment halls to shared tight living spaces, these student artists had to express their artistry. They looked to make connections, to share their love of story, and they longed for a creative community, even if virtually. And for teachers and schools, I am thrilled to share the virtual New York City Theater Teacher Learning video series I launched in November. It's a series of 30 plus short accessible video tutorials on diverse aspects of theater education for remote, blended, and/or in-person instruction and production. The video resources are categorized in 6 main folders, supporting clear, dynamic workshops on how to create community in a remote class, engineer and produce a virtual theatrical performance, how to structure an inclusive blended class, or how to teach designing a theatrical set. There are also videos on arts curriculum mapping, puppetry at the early childhood age, and even engaging students in social justice work in the remote space.
Welcome to the 7th annual virtual Schubert High School Theater Festival for New York City Public Schools. Now, I don't need to remind you that we've been through a lot this past year, but I am telling you that this generation of theater artists coming up is inspiring. I can't wait to see where these young people go. Honestly, I can't wait to work with many of them.
Despite the strife that we've faced in this past year, New Yorkers will always come together to support one another, as these students did, to rebuild what we know will always be our beautiful city.
Where you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city.
You know, I understand the crucial importance of arts education. I went to a school that really understood that it was vitally important. In Just Another Day 2.0, we are drawn into the very real on-screen drama of how students may feel unsafe, even within the assumed safety of their own homes during remote learning.
Hi, Sailor.
Hi, Haley. How are you doing?
I just want to be done with this project.
Yeah, me too.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Whoa, Sailor, still looking like a hot mess. Oh my god, it was just a joke, relax.
Seriously, this quarantine has everyone so sensitive.
Live from Millennium.
It's Friday night!
It's Friday Night Live!
Results are in for the best Zoom backgrounds of 2020, and despite fierce efforts by Mr. Robinson and his New York City at Dusk background, and Dr. Ripito's picture of Alexis from Schitt's Creek, the winners are the boy who only shows his ceiling fan, the girl who only shows her forehead, and anyone who's ever given us an unwanted house tour. Yay!
I am honored to be here with you today. Crowdsourcing from over 30 truly diverse stories from around the world, the Lexington Drama Club produced Diverse Connections. At times humorous, at times sad, at times poignant, but all powerful.
We can't be labeling other people and pressuring them. It brings them down, and that makes them hide. Remember, we are all humans, and identity takes time. So you are not alone in this.
I know you all have been singing, dancing, and performing throughout this entire time. That's why I'm excited to say the arts are not back because they've been here, but we're bringing them back out, right?
It's such a change for us to live so independently. Freedom, you see, has got our hearts singing so joyfully. Just look around, you owe it to yourself to check it out. Can't you feel a brand new day? Can't you feel a brand new day? Can't you feel a brand
special thank you to our friends from the Schubert Foundation. I'd just like to thank some of the most important first responders this year. Can I ask the theater director teachers just to come out and take a bow? Long live arts education.
Keep supporting theater for our public schools. Every student in a theater class or rehearsal is learning the skills that transcend the stage.
From student supports to direct student engagement.
New York City's All-In, All-City Theater Ensemble brings together students from across all 5 boroughs, from diverse backgrounds and gender identities, from different races, abilities, disabilities, and certainly points of view. These amazing teens collaborate to create, devise, rehearse, and produce an original musical based on their individual experiences and also their collective imaginations.
Aristotle said that teaching is the highest form of understanding, because one has to know their material deeply in order to translate it to others with clarity. I'd like to pose that similarly, this is why schools marvel at their students' performances, how they have a command of all aspects of their craft, who seemingly convey truth somehow far beyond their years. In order to portray a character, perform choreography, write dialogue, or create costumes, you need to know your stuff. Balancing attention to process and product for an ensemble, theater classes and rehearsals often display students on task, knowing their own roles and aware of their peers' responsibilities as well. The same is true for those doing tech or supporting offstage in the wings. Looking back at some of the theater initiatives that I shared, new theater teacher hires qualify for our amazing Arthur Miller Fellows program, receiving free mentorship, theater residencies, resources, and student theater tickets. Also note our Broadway League Theater Management Teen Diversity Intensive to provide high school juniors and seniors a chance to shadow Broadway shows, producers, stage managers, publicists regarding non-performing theater careers that might be available to them. Our digital theater project at the intersection of innovative digital applied theater, student voice, and social justice is a Schubert-funded program where students collaborate to explore theatrically what concerns them. They then capture it online. New York City students then share their work digitally and Zoom or Skype with students around the world doing similar work. Push-Pull, which you see here, was our digital mapping project where students interviewed families and communities for their stories about migration, and then they shared them with students in Kenya, England, Russia, Australia, and elsewhere. Regardless of a student's perceived academic strengths, theater engages students in dedicated processes of creative problem solving, of learning experientially, of applying knowledge immediately, and of commitment that can enhance all other subjects. Theater is unique in that every student can participate, from playwriting to marketing, from performance to tech. Theater supports students' creativity and social-emotional learning, even virtually, but its real superpower is the community of respected individuals it helps build. Theater truly is a window and a mirror, not just for the participants, but for the teachers to gain insights into how their students interact, personalize material, express learning differently. Theater is also a place to share laughs, gasps, ahas. It provides windows and mirrors for student audiences to see their own stories and those of their families, as well as experience a new culture and gain respect for the differences, as well as the empathy for how similar we truly are. Soon, we hope to return to in-person classes and in-person theater. So many students are waiting in the wings to express themselves and shine together. On behalf of all of our students, thank you to those school leaders who continue to support your amazing, dedicated theater teachers. And for those forced to reassign faculty to cover other subjects, I hope you might be able to reassign them back as they've helped your school, but can help your school even more as a theater educator. And certainly our tremendous theater cultural partners provide excellent residencies, whether you have a dedicated theater teacher or not. And for those who currently don't have theater faculty, I'd like to offer my guidance to help you consider hiring a teacher to explore the positive impact the theater has on students, but also on your school culture. Faculties and students often rally around and even support school productions even when they're not directly involved. Theater builds community in the schools, but also beyond. Families, alumni, and even local businesses turn out to school plays to celebrate student creativity, student collaboration, and student joyful learning. That inspires everyone far beyond the stage. Thank you for taking the time to examine the impact the theater might have in your school, in your classroom, and on your students. In theatrical role play, students explore the world through cultural context and explore classrooms through social and emotional dynamics. In part, this is why every school should have a theater program for their students and teachers, to help them cope, to help them thrive, and to have agency towards building a better, more inclusive future for your school and for your community. Thank you. Break a leg.